13, 2023, Jaylin Brazier is arrested by Detroit's Fugitive Apprehension Team for the murder of his cousin, Zion Foster. Police confiscate 2 cell phones he has in his possession. Testimony on this day that one of them belongs to Zion Foster, who disappeared January 4th, 2022.
Jaylin Brazier told detectives Zion, his step-cousin, became unresponsive after they smoked marijuana at his home for about an hour.
I freaked out. So what I did, I took her. Well, after that, I waited a little bit, waited like 10 more minutes, and it was still, it's like, it sounded like it was creating more pain, or I don't know what was going on with her body, but her heartbeat was getting very, very faint, and her breathing was like non-existent. And I took her to Highland Park.
January 5th, 2022, 12:59 a.m. A 17-year-old girl picks up her phone and types 3 letters, OMW. On my way. She hit send. She never makes it home. When police ask her cousin about that night, he tells them he hasn't seen her in years. But cameras tell a different story. Her name was Zion Foster, 17 years old, a high school senior from East Point, Michigan. She worked at the Detroit Wing Company, showed up on time, did her job, saved her money. The kind of teenager any parent would be proud of. Zion was close to her family, really close. She texted her mom regularly, spent time with her boyfriend, visited relatives. She had plans, dreams for after graduation, college maybe, a career, a future. On January 4th, 2022, she thought she had all the time in the world. January 4th, 2022, Tuesday night. Just another winter evening in East Point, Michigan. Snow on the ground, temperatures dropping, but for Zion Foster, it felt like any other day. She clocked out at the Detroit Wing Company around 10 p.m. 8 hours on her feet, taking orders, serving food, making conversation with customers. The kind of job that teaches you responsibility. The kind of work that builds character. Zion was tired, but she was satisfied. Another shift completed. Another step toward her future. She drove home through the quiet streets, probably thinking about tomorrow's classes, maybe about her boyfriend, definitely about getting some rest. When she walked through her front door, her mom was there waiting. They talked, the way mothers and daughters do. I'm going to see Jaylin tonight, Zion told her. Jaylin Brazier, her step-cousin, 25 years old, 8 years older than her, but family is family. This conversation had happened dozens of times before. Zion visiting Jaylin wasn't news. It wasn't concerning. It was routine. About twice a month, she'd make this trip. Sometimes they'd watch movies. Sometimes they'd talk. Sometimes they'd just hang out the way cousins do. Her family was used to it. They trusted it. More importantly, they trusted him. At 10:45 p.m., Zion made her final preparations. She grabbed her small purse, the one with her wallet, maybe some lip gloss. The essentials a 17-year-old girl carries. She picked up her phone, fully charged, ready to stay in touch. But here's what's striking about that moment. This is Michigan. This is January. The temperature outside was brutal. The kind of cold that cuts through your clothes and chills you to the bone. Zion didn't grab a jacket, didn't reach for a coat. She figured she wouldn't need one. Think about that. A teenage girl going out on a January night in Michigan, and she doesn't think she needs a coat. That tells you everything about her expectations. This was supposed to be quick, easy, safe. Her mom watched her leave, probably called out, "Be careful," or "Text me when you get there," the way parents do. She expected Zion home later that night. Maybe midnight, maybe 1 a.m. at the latest. Zion always came home, always checked in, always kept her word. Her mom went to bed that night thinking her daughter would be there in the morning. But this time would be different. This time, Zion Foster would never walk through that door again. 12:59 a.m. Zion's phone lights up. She types a message to her mom. OMW. On my way. Her mother sees the text and feels relief. Zion's coming home. She'll be there in 20 minutes, maybe 30. 20 minutes pass. Then an hour. Then 2 hours. Zion never walks through that door. The next morning, her mother calls the police. Her daughter is missing. But here's what investigators would soon learn. Someone had been watching that night. Recording. Cameras had captured everything. Police start with the obvious question, who saw Zion last? The answer leads them straight to her cousin, Jaylin. His response? It would change the entire investigation. But cameras don't lie the way people do. When police knock on Jaylin Brazier's door, they expect cooperation. After all, he's family. He's someone who would want to help find Zion. Instead, he looks them straight in the eye and lies. I haven't seen her in years, he tells them. Years, not months, not weeks, years. This gets the attention of more than local police. The FBI steps in. Detroit Police, East Point Police. Multiple agencies are now looking for a missing 17-year-old girl. But investigators had something Jaylin didn't know about. Something he couldn't explain away with words. A Ring doorbell camera. It captured everything on the night Zion disappeared. There's Jaylin, pulling up to Zion's house. There's Zion, getting into his car. The same night he claims he hadn't seen her in years. Surveillance footage from other cameras tells the same story. Jaylin picked up Zion. This isn't up for debate anymore. Police arrest him. Not for murder. Not yet. For lying to police during a missing person investigation, Jaylin pleads no contest. He spends almost 10 months behind bars. 10 months to think about what he's done and what he's going to say when he gets out. But while Jaylin sits in his cell, investigators keep working. They're analyzing his cell phone data, his internet searches, his text messages with Zion. What they find makes everything clear. Jaylin had been searching online for information about trash compactors, about how police solve crimes, about how evidence gets destroyed. And the text messages, they show a pattern. Jaylin had been grooming Zion, pushing boundaries, trying to make their relationship into something it should never have been. What investigators found next revealed his true intentions. March 2022. Jaylin is out of prison. The pressure is building. He knows the evidence is stacking up against him, so he talks. He admits to disposing of Zion's body in a dumpster. He claims it was an accident. Says she stopped breathing while they were smoking marijuana at his house. Says he panicked, didn't know what to do. But the evidence told a different story. A much more disturbing one. Ring doorbell footage showed Jaylin Brazier picking up Zion Foster from her home on the night she disappeared, contradicting his initial claim that he had not seen her in years. Surveillance cameras further confirmed his movements that evening. Despite this evidence, Brazier lied to police, denying contact with Zion. He was arrested and charged with lying to authorities. Brazier served nearly 10 months in prison for that charge before his release. Investigators analyzed cell phone data which placed Zion's phone at Brazier's Detroit home the night she vanished. They also uncovered Brazier's internet search history, which included queries about trash compactors and ways to cover up crimes. Text messages revealed a pattern of grooming behavior, showing Brazier had manipulated Zion to gain her trust. What investigators found next revealed his true intentions. In March 2022, Brazier admitted to police that Zion stopped breathing while they were smoking marijuana together. He said he panicked and disposed of her body in a dumpster. But the evidence suggested something far more serious than an accident. A massive search was launched at Pine Tree Acres Landfill in Macomb County, Michigan. For 5 months, teams of police officers and volunteers worked daily to carefully excavate the site. This became one of the largest and most intensive searches in Michigan's history. Each day, search crews wore protective gear and sifted through thousands of tons of debris, removing layers of waste up to 50 feet deep. Despite the painstaking efforts and the use of heavy machinery, no remains were found. The search was eventually called off, but investigators continued to pursue the case using other evidence during the trial. A total of 32 witnesses took the stand to share their knowledge of the case. The prosecution detailed evidence showing a pattern of grooming, revealing how Brazier manipulated Zion over time. Investigators presented a timeline highlighting Brazier's inconsistent statements, which changed repeatedly throughout the investigation. The defense argued that Brazier's actions were mistakes and that there was no proof he intentionally caused Zion's death. Meanwhile, the prosecution maintained a strong case, connecting the evidence to Brazier's responsibility. Courtroom sketches and photos of key evidence helped the jury follow the complex details as the trial unfolded. In May 2024, the trial reached its conclusion. After hearing all the evidence, the jury deliberated for less than 1 hour before reaching a verdict. Jaylin Brazier was found guilty of second-degree murder. On June 3, 2024, he was sentenced to serve between 38 and 90 years in prison. Justice was swift, bringing some measure of closure to Zion Foster's family. Text message evidence revealed a troubling pattern of manipulation. Brazier used conversations to gain Zion's trust and control her thoughts. He exploited the family connection to create a sense of safety and closeness. This allowed him to push boundaries without raising suspicion. Looking back, warning signs were missed or misunderstood by those around them. The case shows how predators can use family ties to their advantage, making it harder for victims to seek help or be believed. Understanding these tactics is important to protect others from similar harm. The prosecution faced significant challenges in securing a conviction without Zion Foster's body. Despite this, Wayne County Prosecutor Kimeworthy and her team built a strong case relying heavily on digital evidence and witness testimony. Cell phone data, internet searches, and text messages painted a clear picture of Brazier's involvement. Coordinating the testimonies of 32 witnesses helped establish a timeline and reveal inconsistencies in Brazier's statements. Prosecutor Worthy emphasized the importance of persistence, stating that investigators and prosecutors refused to abandon the case, meticulously piecing together each element of evidence over 18 months. Similar cases without recovered bodies have also resulted in convictions, demonstrating that with thorough investigation and strong evidence, justice can be achieved even in difficult circumstances. Sierra Milton showed remarkable strength throughout the entire process. From the moment Zion disappeared, she became a fierce advocate, tirelessly working with law enforcement and the community to find her daughter. Even as the investigation unfolded and the painful truth emerged, Milton remained focused on seeking justice for Zion. She engaged with the media thoughtfully, sharing Zion's story to raise awareness and keep the case in the public eye. Her openness helped build a network of community support, with many people rallying around the family during this difficult time. Despite the heartbreaking loss and the fact that Zion's body was never found, Milton has continued to search for closure. She has spoken openly about the deep pain of not having her daughter's remains, but also about the importance of honoring Zion's memory. In court, Milton's victim impact statements carried great emotional weight. She spoke from the heart, describing the life Zion should have had, the milestones she would have reached, the dreams she would have pursued. Milton's words conveyed the profound loss experienced by the family and the lasting impact of this tragedy on their lives. Her courage and dedication serve as a powerful reminder of the human cost behind the case, and her advocacy continues to inspire others to support victims and fight for justice. Law enforcement agencies worked closely together throughout the investigation. Multiple departments, including local police and federal agents, coordinated their efforts to gather evidence and follow leads. Technology played a key role in uncovering the truth. Investigators analyzed surveillance footage, cell phone data, and digital communications to piece together the timeline. Despite challenges and setbacks, the team remained persistent. Their commitment to the case never wavered, even when the search for Zion's remains came up empty. This determination was crucial in building a strong case and bringing the investigation to a successful conclusion. Predators who exploit family connections are more common than many realize. Studies show that a significant number of victims know their abusers personally, often within their own families. Recognizing warning signs early can make a critical difference. Changes in behavior, secretive communication, or unusual relationships should never be ignored. Communities play a vital role in protecting vulnerable individuals. By fostering open conversations and supporting education about these dangers, we can help prevent future tragedies. Understanding how predators operate within families is essential. It empowers parents, caregivers, and young people to stay alert and take action when needed. Prevention starts with awareness, and awareness can save lives. Zion Foster's life is remembered not for the tragedy that ended it, but for the joy and promise she brought to those around her. Her family continues to hold on to hope that one day her remains will be found, so they can have the closure they desperately need. Zion's story has left a lasting impact on the community, inspiring many to come together in support and remembrance. Through memorials and gatherings, her memory lives on as a reminder of the importance of love, vigilance, and justice. If you or someone you know is missing, there are resources available to help. Reach out to local authorities and organizations dedicated to finding missing persons. Educate yourself and your family about safety measures to protect loved ones from harm. Communities must stay vigilant and support one another in times of crisis. When sharing information, always do so with respect and care, avoiding exploitation or sensationalism. Together, we can work toward a safer future for everyone.